Hi, this is Kerry with Learn Davinci Resolve. And when I'm testing lights like I am right now, to make sure that I've got good color, I need to know how good that color is. Now, I don't have a high-end color meter or anything, but what I do have is something that every filmmaker and every photographer should have, and that's a gray card. I'll be right back. Alright, here it is. What I use is the X-RITE Colorchecker Passport video. This is a fantastic card to have in your pack. It's very small, it's not much bigger than your phone in terms of footprint here, but it's very, very thin. And let me show you some of the features of this that make it worthwhile for everybody to have. When we first open it up, it opens three ways. We have a focus checker. So I can always have this in a scene, make sure that my focus is nailed. And I'm doing that because I have focus peaking turned on my cameras and on my external monitors. So as long as I see all my little red lines on here, I know my focus is dialed in. The bottom of this is your standard 50% gray card. That's going to make sure that my exposure is good and that my white balance is good. If I want to manually set my white balance, I can just use that and do it in camera, or I can always just use this as a reference when I'm doing my post-production. Now it does kind of come in this little trifold, so when I can set it on a table or something and make sure I get it in the shot. But the next section is where things get very interesting. Now this part of the card has white, 50% gray, and black. So I can dial in one shot here all my white balance. So I have my white balance, my white spot, and my pure black. This makes it very easy to get my dynamic range set up. This part is what is super interesting, and this is the color chart. And Davinci Resolve knows this color chart. So when I go in there, I can select this, boom, and I'm good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate exactly how this works. First off, we're going to check our white balance, and I'm going to use this card. So I'm going to hold this up here so it's in the scene, and in Davinci Resolve, I'm going to go into the color page, and I'm going to select my gray, or my neutral, my white balance, and select here, and I'm going to select my whites, and go here, and my blacks, and go here. That's going to give me my dynamic range and my white balance. Now you might not have noticed a huge difference in when I changed the white balance here with the neutral gray. If the color is accurate from the light and the scene, it shouldn't really affect anything. It's only if my color profile is off or my light is off. Now I'm shooting this in Cinelike, so right now this is looking a little washed out. Now I could apply a LUT like this, or back to my ungraded and just color corrected footage. So right now what you're seeing is the Cinelike D. Now to do what I like to do with the color chart is I don't even need to use a LUT. I'm just going to use this. So I'm going to go in to the color page, or into the color matcher, bring up the X-RITE color, or X-RITE, what a name on this thing, Colorchecker Passport video. Make sure the overlay is turned on, put the grid on here so that the four corners match up, and I want to make sure that the little boxes for each of the colors line up with a color on here. Now, when I select match, you're going to see a big color shift, and it's going to look a lot more natural. Ready? Go. Now you should have seen a big difference in going from the Cinelike to the color graded version of the video. Again, I could have just used a LUT if I had a LUT that I liked, but I need to make sure everything else is dialed in first. So before I apply my color or my LUT, I'm going to set my blacks, my whites, and my white balance, create a new node, and then either do a LUT or use the color card. Anytime that I'm not sure if my color is accurate, like I said, when I'm using new lights or things, then this is going to be super handy. A LUT is going to work assuming that the lighting condition is the same every single time. If it's not, well, the LUT can get really thrown off because the color in the footage is not what it expects it to be. This makes sure that the colors are accurate. So if you're looking for a way to really streamline your white balance and your color grading, an X-RITE Passport checker video is going to be the way to go. I do highly recommend these. It's not on the cheap side. It's about $115 the last time I checked. There'll be a link down in the description. And as always, you can go to kerrygarrison.com and find this in the link that says Amazon Store. And that way you can make sure you find the right item. There's a number of things that are fairly close to this, but for Davinci Resolve to work like I just showed you, it has to be this model because of the colors that are on here and the layout of the colors. Anything that's not exactly like this is not going to work right. So check it out, the X-RITE Passport Color Checker video. A lot of words to say for what this little guy is, but very, very, very handy. Everybody should have one of these. Thanks always for watching. I really congratulate the people who won our 5,000 subscriber giveaway contest. Thanks to LoomCube, Low Post, and Davinci Resolve, or Blackmagic for the Davinci Resolve license. Couldn't have done it without them. Couldn't have done it without you guys. You guys are what makes this channel. It's your comments, your feedback, your questions that really drive me to do the different videos that I do. So if you have more comments, more feedback, and especially more questions, never hesitate to ask because that gives me ideas for upcoming videos. If you're not a subscriber, click subscribe and check the bell icon to be notified every time I put out a new video, which is a couple times a week. It's a lot of work, but really appreciate it. There is a Patreon link down in the description below if you really care about trying to help me make this channel better. I would definitely appreciate you being involved with that. We'll come up with different perks for the different Patreon members out there as well. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.